morning, everybody. I just had to make this video here today. I want, especially in this spot. Look at this. Look at this beautiful spot here, man. You know, it's like being in the jungle here. See, we're here in India. This beach, really nice beach here. See, isn't that nice? Anyway, I just had to make this, man. You know, I tell you, walking with Jesus is awesome. And you know, it's just, I just wanted to talk about this thing. I had a breakthrough today, so I want to share about this. Basically, I was listening to a guy that's always jacked up on Jesus. I mean, there's a whole group of them. And they share a message that's about grace being a universal thing. They're quoting verses from the Bible that that have a universal element to it, like everybody is going to be saved and not just, you know, a select few. See, so anyway, there's this controversy within the church about this. I don't know, maybe our little thing can shed a little light here on it, because, you know, I also am learning things. I'm not too old to learn something new, hopefully. So anyway, there's this controversy where, you know, like just a certain section of people are going to be saved, and the rest are going to be cast out into outer darkness and burn in hell forever and ever, ever. And then there's this other group, and they look pretty blissful to me. And more than that, you know, they're just feeling a lot of this love, you know, just love. They love everybody and all of this. And so I was listening to the message, and the guy was talking about subjective versus objectiveness of the scriptures, because there's many scriptures that say that everybody's going to be saved, and there's scriptures that say, you know, there's this, you know, process that one has to go through to be saved. But in the long run, it appears there's these things that are said. I mean, Jesus, for example, Jesus says that if I'm lifted on a pole, I will draw all men unto me. He didn't say some men, he said all men, you know. And there's other verses like this, I can't think of them offhand, that kind of give this impression that everybody's going to be saved. So anyway, there's that controversy, and then there's others who are against that and say, well, you see these other verses here, they say that there's going to be a judgment and all of that. Okay, so there's this going on. But this guy made a lot of sense how he reconciled this, and it reconciled it for me, actually, by experience now. I'll talk about that a little bit. The issue, because he said basically, well, you know, preaching the gospel is important because even though everyone may be saved in the long run, but there are those, it's like ready to hear it now, and it's like engaging in the harvest now, and it improves the quality of life of people, see? Now, and so it's not like a thing, well, I'm going to be lazy now because everybody's going to save, now I don't have to do anything thing. That's not the mentality of those who really are into this gospel in a good way, in a correct way, not full of errors and stuff. It's going to be the topic that we're talking about here soon, because this thing about error. Okay, so we're kind of going around the bush here. Just get a little introduction here. So anyway, and he said, listen, and this I could see in his preaching, because he does a good job, and there's healings and signs, wonders, and a lot of fruit happening, good fruit, in his preaching. I don't know if I should mention names now. I don't know if I will, but we'll just, you know, there is an example out there. And so anyway, there's good stuff happening. I mean, miraculous things happening too, and a lot of love and a lot of acceptance. See, so things are going on like this. And the point that I really liked what he said, and that I'm finding working for me now in my own life, stuff usually happens pretty quick when I start to get something, you know, it starts to work its way in really quick. That's good. That's really good. He said, listen, you know, it's good, it's important to have this universal approach anyway, even if you're preaching, the gospel, because it does something. It opens the gates of love. You can actually feel that, and a kind of a rest, and not a feverishness that I gotta always perform, and because you can get into a works idea that you're saved by works and all of this stuff. And I noticed when I applied that to my own life this morning, it had that effect. It's like, wow, I feel more love now. And I noticed that those who preach this doctrine that people are going to go to hell forever, the Christians, because the people who preach like that, they're usually they got a kind of a coarse, a harshness to them, it's just not attractive. But this was also, and I felt in my own self, I was more attracted. Like, wow, it's just like, wow, I feel more love awakening, and I don't think this is going to stop. This is going to enhance my sharing Jesus. It's enhancing it for me, because what we are is a reflection to others too. I mean, like how our energy is, how we're feeling about life and about ourselves and our relation with God. It's all reflective. Okay, now let's bring up this thing about errors. Okay, and universal idea about how everyone has some sort of error going on. See, even whether you're a Christian and you think you know it all and you have, you're the only one going to be saved, or if you're, some other religion, or if you're not into any religion, anything, but there's error going on. And a very thoughtful Christian at the turn of the century, his name was Sadhu Sundar Singh. That was a big question for him, because he was wondering, he was thinking, he's an intelligent person, he was totally dedicated to Jesus, gave his whole life to Jesus, but he had a hard time believing that his nice mother, who was worshiping, good morning, she was worshiping like in a different way, she was worshiping the idols, and but she was a good person, and he had a hard time that she was going to go to hell forever and ever. He couldn't get this, man. But anyway, he was very, he had gifts, and one of his gifts was special gifts, and the God actually answered his question and showed him, didn't even just answer it. He would take him into the heaven about 8 times a month, and he would get all his questions answered by seeing what's going on there. And one thing that really is related to everything we're talking about is error. See? So here in this world there's plenty of error going on, because we don't really know exactly what's going on in heaven. I mean, we hear in the scriptures, and there's scriptures that claim that maybe just dreaming up what's going on in heaven. There's all these idols there and all of this. But anyway, he got to go and see what was going on, and he saw what was happening to people that made the transition over, and he actually. You're going insane, are we? No, not you. No, I'm talking. Anyway, he got to see who actually crossed over, and what they went through, and then he kind of labeled it sons of light and sons of darkness. But the interesting thing, he knew that even those who believed in Christ and actually they were dedicated and believed in Christ, they actually had their errors too, often. So anyway, if anybody makes it to the level of love, like he showed some examples of persons crossing over, and they were just loving here and preaching the gospel, and also very loving here. They made it to that platform of really love. They could go deeper into the light. As a matter of fact, Jesus would appear to them and give them that mansion that he promised, and the Lord would be with them. They were really, loved Christ. And not that, anyway, that was going on. But there were some Christians that actually were more the harsh type. Still maybe had like some pride going on, and they thought they were superior and all of that. But they had a kind of a lesser position in relation to the deeper light, where people can go right into the pearly gates and all this paradise and everything, because they were humble and they really loved Christ like this. But even some Christians, they had to stay back because of this pride thing, and thinking they were kind of harsh in this world, maybe pointing the finger, you're going to go to hell and all this stuff. So anyway, they had to work out their issues, and the interesting thing was, it wasn't that anyone was really cast away, but everybody had their errors pointed out if they were open to it. So you see, it's about getting clear of the errors, because when we're clear, the more errors that we're clear of, the more love there's going to be, because God is love, right? So I mean, how I see it now, and like even those who may be worshiping idols, and I don't agree with that, and I believe, this idolatry is not going on there, and I feel it's an error, and I think it is. The scriptures even say it's an error. So, but doesn't mean that those people that are making that particular error are going to be lost forever. No, this is a challenge for them, and he actually. This is the valuable thing about Sadhu Sundar Singh's visions, is there was actually an idolater who was sincerely worshiping his idol here in this world, and when he passed over into heaven, he was looking for his deity, his idol. He couldn't find it. And the angels and the saints, which Sadhu Sundar said, which coincides with our simple scriptures, there's angels and saints are there, and they tried to help him, and they did. And they said, he said, where is my God? And he said, there's no God like that idol there in where we are. There's only the unlimited God, the light of God, and his Son, Jesus Christ, and the saints that you see, and the angels. So they're here, And of course, the more demoniac types that are in the deeper darkness, that's going on too. He said that's all that's here. And so anyway, he was humble and willing to get that error corrected. And he said, can you teach me about this Jesus? About Jesus, it says, the angels rejoiced over him. Getting jacked up here on Jesus already myself, man. This is great. It's all about love, man, So anyway, when our error is corrected, there's going to be more love. That's the message of this thing here right now today. So anyway, he said, teach me about Jesus. So they rejoiced over him, because they were very happy when people let go of their error. They're not stuck on it, and they're open to be instructed about truth. Because even Jesus said it's the truth that's going to make you free. So error and deception and being deceived and all these things is part of this darkness that we're in the world. Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. I've come here as a light unto the world. And he said so many things that are full of light and truth. But still, how we understand it is another thing, We got to, the key is, the more love you're feeling, the more you're on the beam, Some error is being corrected. That's how I see it now. That's the standard. If I'm being too harsh and all this, there's some error I'm not seeing. Lord, please point it out. So anyway, he was open to be instructed, and they rejoiced over this. And they were so happy, and he was happy too. And then Jesus appeared to him, very fast, just appeared. And this was not only his situation. This is so many. There are many other. With so many people are worshiping idols as God, and many others were in the same situation. And they're the ones that were open. You could be stuck on this thing. You may not accept, just like here, people don't accept. You might not accept there. But those who do, they got to see Jesus and they felt the regeneration happen. This is what happens when one believes in Jesus here. And it was shown, like he said in the vision, that even there. So then they got the regeneration. Literally, you are born again, you become a new creation, a new creature. Really, it's just, there's nothing like it. And if one accepts Jesus here, believes in their heart and confesses, Lord, save me, man, from all these things, one will experience this regeneration here. And if it doesn't happen here, maybe, it looks like you get another chance there. Although Jesus did say, what you bind here, you bind in heaven. So anyway, something's got to be done, and all our errors will be worked out if you accept more of a universal doctrine on this, because there are scriptures like that saying that. This is, it's just Paul taught that. He said, because of one man's sin, the whole world became sinful, just from one man's sin. And from one man's overcoming sin, then how much more grace abounds to everyone. See? So he also obviously believed in this, that everybody was going to somehow, I don't know, it can be some contradictions there, but on this thing, the way I see it, the more love I feel is going to be means that the more right on something is, because then it's my heart telling me these things. Otherwise it can become more hard, and harsh. I mean, what are you going to do at a certain point? It's kind of like that. You got to, trust your heart. So, anyway, this really helped me a lot. So now the way I'm looking today is like, boy, okay, God, I can relax. In one sense, the Lord is merciful, and He's going to save everybody He can. And I can relax a little bit, but doesn't mean I'm going to stop preaching. Matter of fact, it probably enhanced my sharing with others the good news with people, because it does increase the quality of one's life, man. It's just, it enhances things. It's just so amazing. This is God's true Son. I mean, we work on the internet. We're dealing with the other religion that I was into, and there's errors there, and I'm working to do my part in making a testimony and sharing there, so people can evaluate this and do the needful, whatever that is for them. Okay? And some are actually coming to Christ more and understanding what we're talking about. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, so that's the message now. If anything more comes a little later, I'll shoot it by you guys out there. So thank you for joining me here in paradise. And if you have any questions or anything, shoot me an email, man. Have a wonderful day. May Jesus be the light of your life. And, yeah, like that.